Welcome to our very last show. I walked out here 19 years ago and I said that this is the start of a relationship. And today is not the end of a relationship. It's more of a little break. It's you can see other talk shows now.
Ellen DeGeneres' career perfectly illustrates the saying, "What goes around, comes around." While her public image of generosity and her trademark phrase, "be kind," helped build a widely acclaimed and award-winning talk show, her unacceptable conduct behind closed doors eventually led to the unraveling of everything she had accomplished. In this video, we take a closer look at how Ellen's uplifting image won over millions, who she truly was when the cameras stopped rolling, and how the clash between those two realities ultimately brought her career crashing down.
I always hear people talk about the worst thing. You ever hear people, they just complain, anything that happens, like, you know, they get a paper cut. Oh, paper cut, that is the worst thing. And I always think, really? Is it the worst thing?
Early stand-up career calling. Ellen, talented at stand-up comedy, would be an understatement. Within just 5 years of leaving college to chase a career in comedy, she transitioned from hosting gigs at local bars to being named the funniest female comedian in America. That recognition led to her first appearance on a major 1980s talk show.
Hey, I have a question about dinosaurs. I heard you like dinosaurs a lot, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What if I told you we had a dinosaur here today? It's a friendly dinosaur, too. I think you're gonna like it.
Her sharp outlook on life, dry humor, and sarcastic charm resonated with audiences. Ellen's material often poked fun at herself, focusing on everyday life in a way people found relatable. This wide appeal eventually landed her a leading role in a sitcom centered around a quirky bookstore owner who handled life through humor and lengthy monologues.
This is our very, very first show, and you are my very first audience.
A lot of people didn't maybe have high hopes for this show.
Breaking ground, facing backlash. Despite the sitcom's popularity and multiple Emmy wins, it was canceled in 1998 after a groundbreaking episode where Ellen's character publicly came out as gay. The first time a lead character had done so on television. Although Ellen continued to act in films and other shows, the backlash left a lasting impact. The show's cancellation marked a turning point. She became sidelined by the industry, struggled to secure new roles, and felt isolated by the same entertainment world that once supported her. Career revival and talk show launch. In the early 2000s, Ellen experienced a major comeback after voicing the character Dory in Finding Nemo. The role revitalized interest in her comedic style, introduced her to a younger audience, and brought renewed attention from Hollywood insiders.
What if it was like a really...
cute little white mouse.
Different kind.
Then, on September 8, 2003, she launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show. While the format followed the typical structure of a daytime talk show, what made it stand out was Ellen's cheerful attitude, lively energy, and heartwarming interactions with both guests and audience members.
Let's say hi to your family.
The show quickly became known for its uplifting moments. Ellen regularly surprised her audience with giveaways, donated to charities, and promoted a message of kindness and joy. It was a winning formula. The show went on to air for nearly 2 decades, attracting millions of viewers each episode and collecting more than 80 awards. Ellen also harnessed social media to boost her influence, further solidifying her place as a beloved household figure. However, as her public image soared, another version of Ellen, one that contradicted her wholesome persona, slowly began to emerge behind the scenes.
I'm terrified of porcelain dolls.
I heard that.
All right.
Just
Either one of
hold
those.
one.
No. My wife. Come on, stop. Stop, man.
Early rumblings of controversy. Throughout Ellen's time as a talk show host, there was always a quiet but steady stream of discontent coming from people who had worked with or personally known her. The first major red flag appeared during the 2007 Writers Guild of America strike, when Ellen crossed the picket line and kept producing her show. Some defended her decision as a way to keep non-writing staff employed, while others saw it as a self-serving move to maintain her ratings. This act created division and drew more attention to her behavior behind the scenes. During this same period, a former writer shared an online post describing how Ellen's personality seemed to shift dramatically once the cameras were off. The warmth and charm she displayed during rehearsals allegedly disappeared when filming ended. Although this revelation didn't immediately tarnish her reputation, it introduced the first real doubts about whether the kindness Ellen portrayed on screen extended to her real-life relationships, especially with her team.
Hey, was Michael B. Jordan there? I know he's dating your daughter now, so was he sharing Christmas with you?
Yeah.
Look at that, that's happening in front of you?
Public doubts begin to grow. By the late 2010s, the public's trust in Ellen's image had started to waver. A growing number of online videos and articles began documenting troubling moments from her show. These included jokes that felt off-putting, especially when they touched on sensitive aspects of guests' personal lives or financial struggles.
Visa Checkout is offering free shipping plus $20 off orders over $100. So get to Williams-Sonoma and start shopping.
Many of Ellen's supposedly generous gestures also began to look more calculated than sincere. Audiences started noticing instances where she seemed to embarrass guests or exploit emotional moments for laughs or attention. One infamous example involved a mock gift shop segment. The audience was told to take only one item, but when a woman took more, Ellen called her out during the show to make a point about honesty. Although it was framed as a comedic bit, many felt the act crossed a line, especially given Ellen's status and platform. Publicly shaming a guest for a minor misstep didn't align with the image she had cultivated for years. The New York Times article, "The Growing Skepticism Surrounding Ellen's Persona," was intensified by a New York Times article titled, "Ellen DeGeneres is not as nice as you think." The piece explored the contrast between her cheerful, on-screen demeanor and the more complicated personality she showed in private. The article delved into her return to stand-up comedy and the internal struggle she faced with always needing to appear nice. It also examined how she reacted to criticism from those who questioned her reputation. Though Ellen insisted that her workplace culture was always centered around positivity, a mounting number of stories painted a different reality.
The Ellen DeGeneres Show is facing new allegations this morning of rampant sexual misconduct and harassment in the workplace.
The BuzzFeed expose. On July 17, 2020, BuzzFeed News released an investigative report featuring accounts from one current and 10 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres Show who described a toxic work environment behind the scenes. The allegations included racism, favoritism, intimidation, and an overall atmosphere of fear. Even if Ellen wasn't directly responsible for the misconduct, she was the public face of the brand. Her image was built on compassion and generosity, so the disturbing revelations dealt a particularly heavy blow. As more people shared their experiences, fans and the public began holding Ellen accountable for failing to prevent or address the toxic behavior on her set.
This TV producer is speaking out on camera for the first time about what it was like working for Ellen DeGeneres.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is.
Former employees revealed strict, unspoken rules, such as not being allowed to approach Ellen, and described the work environment as tense and stressful. One staff member recounted how an executive producer would frequently yell at people while Ellen looked on and laughed. On top of that, viral stories began circulating online, including one where a fan-made gift was used and discarded during a show segment. These incidents collectively reinforced the perception that Ellen's off-camera behavior was starkly different from the image she projected. Public backlash and apology attempts. As the criticism intensified, Warner Media launched an internal investigation, which resulted in the firing of 3 senior producers. In response, Ellen issued a memo to her staff expressing disappointment that the environment behind the scenes didn't reflect the values she wanted the show to represent.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened.
She also addressed the controversy publicly during her show, apologizing to those affected and promising that changes were underway. However, many viewers felt her statement lacked sincerity. To them, it came across more like damage control than a heartfelt apology. The vague and polished delivery only deepened the sense that Ellen was trying to repair her image, rather than take real accountability.
Here she is now for her season 18 premiere, Ellen DeGeneres.
The beginning of the end. When the show returned for its 18th season, Ellen acknowledged that issues had taken place and expressed her commitment to creating a better work culture. But the damage had already been done. Longtime fans started to question if they had ever truly known the real Ellen. The impact was visible in the ratings. The show lost over 1 million viewers, and its steady decline continued throughout the season. Behind closed doors, network executives began to realize that the show's brand had lost its luster, and it was only a matter of time before a major decision would be made.
Today, I am announcing that next season, season 19, is going to be my last season. This show has been the greatest experience of my life.
The final announcement, in May 2021, Ellen officially revealed that season 19 would be the last for her talk show. She expressed gratitude to her viewers for their continued support over the previous 18 years and spoke about how much the show had impacted her life. She framed the decision as a natural ending, suggesting it was time for a new chapter. However, many people found it hard to ignore the timing. Despite her claim that the controversy wasn't the reason for ending the show, the connection between the backlash and her departure was clear to much of the public. When asked about how it felt to say goodbye, Ellen described the moment as emotional and difficult. But when questions turned to the allegations and the impact on her decision, she insisted they played no role, arguing that if they had, she wouldn't have returned for the final season at all. Ellen's denial and deflection. Even as the backlash continued to unfold, Ellen refused to fully accept responsibility. She portrayed the criticism as part of a calculated effort to tear her down, and maintained that the overwhelming positivity shared by celebrity guests proved her show's good nature. Ellen also claimed she didn't have complete visibility over everything happening behind the scenes. With hundreds of employees working across various departments and buildings, she said much of the responsibility was delegated to others. She wished someone had told her what was going on sooner. But many weren't convinced. Commentators pointed out that being friendly to celebrities didn't excuse mistreating staff. The gap between her polished image and the troubling behind-the-scenes accounts had grown too large to ignore. Ellen's response to the controversy revealed a disconnect. While she saw it as a sudden, isolated attack, many believed it exposed a long-standing problem. Her lack of genuine empathy made it clear that the show's message of kindness was more of a performance than a principle. As more fan stories and behind-the-scenes accounts surfaced, it became harder to dismiss the idea that Ellen's public persona had been carefully curated, not authentic.
All right, well, let me catch up on what's been going on with me since you saw me last. I decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else I can tell you about that.
A legacy in ruins. In 2024, Ellen released her final comedy special, For Your Approval. But instead of using it to reflect or take accountability, She chose sarcasm. She mocked her "be kind" image and brushed off the backlash with a bitter tone. The special received harsh reviews and reignited criticism, making it clear she no longer cared about salvaging her public persona. What remained was a legacy in shambles. Once the face of daytime positivity, Ellen had dismantled the very image that made her a cultural icon. Her refusal to take real responsibility left a lasting stain on her career. By the end, the mask had fully slipped, confirming that her kindness had always been more performance than principle.